Before I begin my sermon, let me say that pastors' families are never safe when pastors are looking for sermon material. But I did use this story by permission of our daughter, who is not here today because she's in her second week of the Groves musical, which is Barnum, and call is at 12:30, and all the stage makeup and everything has to be on before 12:30. So, when our daughter Cameron was quite small, she liked money. In fact, she liked money quite a lot. Much to Cameron's delight, when her grandmothers were around, they would often give her a few coins. Soon, whenever one of the grandmas visited, Cameron would ask, "Can I have some money?" Now, David and I were a bit surprised and a little taken aback by this, but it wasn't really a big deal, at least not until this request moved beyond the family. Sometimes Cameron asked other guests in our home for money, which was not only a little perplexing, but also a little uncomfortable, at least for her parents. Wondering what this was all about, David and I decided very young Cameron needed some money to manage. So Cameron's allowance began at a very young age, $1 a week. Now, with very young children, since many pieces are seen as more valuable than just one, we seldom gave her a dollar bill. More often it was 10 dimes or 10 nickels and 5 dimes or maybe 4 quarters, sometimes 100 pennies. And the deal was this: Cameron had to give a little bit of her money to the church or to something else that she thought was a really good cause that would help somebody else. And then she could spend the rest of it pretty much as she chose, with a little encouragement from us to save a little bit if there was something bigger that she was wanting to buy. Our daughter was eager to try out this new thing of spending her own money, and there was this really cool toy store near where we lived that was more than happy to accommodate her spending desires. They had wonderful things at this store, including wonderful little things that didn't cost very much. And sometimes Cameron would look around the store for a long, long time, choosing a little toy costing maybe 50 cents. And then I might ask, "Are you sure that's how you want to spend your money? What about that book you've been wanting?" But after her clear yes, I'd ask if she had her money, letting her know that after the tax it would cost not 50 cents, but 57 cents, which seemed a little unfair to Cameron and led to some very interesting discussions about taxes. Counting her money, though, we might discover she had only 48 cents. So I would agree to loan her the rest, letting her know that as soon as we got home, she needed to pay me 9 cents. Cameron became quite good at counting money, and she became quite the little money manager. She valued her money, liked it quite a lot. Now, if you're a parent or if you've been around children a lot, you've probably experienced those grace-filled moments when a child does something that lets you know who this little one is becoming. When Cameron was about maybe 2.5 or 3 years old, well after her allowance had begun, she and I flew from Minneapolis to northwestern Pennsylvania to spend a week and a half or so with my mom. The night before we flew back, I was busily packing up everything, hoping not to leave anything behind, at least not anything too important, and I could not find the airline tickets. Forgetting we had e-tickets, I searched everywhere for paper tickets, making the comment somewhere in the process, I hope I don't have to pay for more tickets. And little Cameron, observing all of this, spoke up, "Mommy, I have money. You can have my money to buy more tickets." My focus suddenly shifted. My stress melted away. I was experiencing one of those moments of grace when I was allowed to catch a glimpse into the soul of my daughter. I knew she valued her money and enjoyed spending it on things. I discovered her generosity of spirit, opening her heart to see a need, figure out what she could do, and then step up to do what she could. Cameron was ready to give quickly, willingly, and joyfully, pleased with her ability to offer help. So now, Here we are in the middle of the fall stewardship campaign. And just like the awkwardness when young Cameron asked people to give her their money, everyone, pastors included, find this an uncomfortable, awkward time of year, so much so that often members decide not to come to church, while pastors wish that they could do the same. There's a tendency to couch our words in some sort of way that we don't really talk about money, we don't really say the word, or to focus so much on money that we leave people wondering if any other contributions to the life of the community actually matter at all. So let me just put it out there straight, and then we can move on. Your session is asking each one of you to reach into your pocket, take out your money, and give it to the church for our work and life together in 2013. Or to reach for your checkbook or that plastic card that you carry with you to make a contribution to Fort Street's 2013 budget. Or to fill out a pledge card, making a promise that if nothing unforeseen happens with your financial situation, you will give a certain amount of your money to Fort Street during the 2013 fiscal year. There. I've said it. Straight out, the session is asking for your money. And just so you know, 90% of your session has already pledged for 2013, and they did so well over 1 month ago. Now we're here asking you to give some of your financial resources to Fort Street, to support our life and work together in 2013. And we strongly encourage you to do this by next Sunday, when we will dedicate these pledges, and then our Fiscal Operations Committee will begin the challenging and time-consuming task of putting together Fort Street's 2013 budget. But there's a lot more to the equation than just money. Stewardship is really about living in community. It's about receiving and being vulnerable enough to let our real needs be known to those around us. It's about giving, and giving joyfully, with gratitude and a spirit of generosity. It's about thanksgiving for what we have, for what we receive, for how we can share. Stewardship is about continuing on the Jesus way, inviting others to come join us on this journey, building up the people of God, transforming the world, and in the process being transformed as we experience surprises of grace. As the early church began, believers pooled their resources, using what each of them had for the good of the whole community. They provided for the needs of each one in their midst, and many beyond their own group. They worshiped together, visited in each other's homes, sat at table and shared a meal. They were joyful. They were sincere. They praised God. And people around them were watching this different way of life, this genuine love they had for one another, this joyful way they shared their lives. And all of this was so inviting, so amazingly compelling. Each day, more and more people came to join them. They also wanted to belong to this genuine community where people lived together in sincerity and joy, where everyone's gifts, diverse as they were welcomed and needed for building the community of God, where the Spirit of God was actively alive and well, moving the community forward with God. The last couple of weeks, we've looked at reformers and saints in our past and in our midst who have made Fort Street the faith community that we are. Now, standing on God's promises and on the shoulders of those who have gone before us, it is now up to us to determine Fort Street's future and move Fort Street into that future. When we live together in God's community with a spirit of generosity, joyful sharing, and thanksgiving, people will be drawn to us, wanting to belong here too. And we live in that spirit of generosity and sharing and joyful thanksgiving. God's promises and surprises of grace will abound. Thanks be to God. Amen.